Welcome back, survivors. I'm the survivalist, and we return to Project Zomboid, where we're probably going to die today. Like, we for sure caught the zombie virus from one of the bites we got. Well, actually, the only bite we got. The game has a 100% chance of you catching the zombie virus if you get bitten, which I'm actually pretty okay with. It's more so, like, some of the stuff around that where I've got issues a bit with the game, and I did a little previewing of trying to see, like, what mods I might want to pick up for Project Zomboid, and truth be told, there's so many that look like they would add just simple but very, very useful things for the game that I'll probably have to take a while before I would get all the mods I want, compile them into a list, and then start a new Project Zomboid series. So with us having gone close to 10 weeks with Project Zomboid, this will probably be the last episode I'm going to cover it for now. I'll move on to another series of a game I want to tackle, cover that, and maybe once that's over, we'll go back to a modded Zomboid. Because a lot of the stuff I've seen for mods or that feel like just basic things the game really could implement on its own, and it honestly maybe should. Like, there have been things, like when it comes to all the Moodles here, like, yeah, that's probably going down on its own. There's not really too much I'm going to do, because if I go near a zombie, I'm probably just going to die instantly. But I've seen mods here where it actually gives you, like, the Moodle, and it actually has, like, almost a bar of how strong of an effect to how weak of an effect there currently is for it. So, like, if we're peckish, there'd be, like, say, 1 red bar, and then at max starving, it's 5 red bars. So you can actually see a better severity of what it is, aside from just, like, the color behind the symbol, too. Another one that I spotted that I really liked was, it gave you full info on what that Moodle represented and what effects it would have on you. Like, say it was a, heavy exertion, you have run disabled, weapon attack speed minus so much percentage, task stuff, etc. It gave you a full breakdown of all the effects that particular Moodle had to your character. A lot of things that I find with Zomboid, and it's something I've been going back and forth a little bit with the comment, or somebody in the comments section for the series, is that Project Zomboid has a really good base foundation for a game, but it really feels like mods are where it steps it up to make that foundation properly fleshed out, built on, and customized almost to you for whatever experience you're looking to enjoy. Oh, apologies there. Got a bit of a cough trying to clear out the throat this morning or that, but so yeah, when it does come to Zomboid, there's so much that I feel like modding potential and also filling in a lot of gaps for what's maybe not the most well-designed or offered, that I would highly recommend that just play Zomboid for maybe like a couple of hours, 2 or 3 hours, kind of get your feeling of what it has on offer as a base experience, and that way when you want to look for mods, if you don't have a mod list to go off of, you know what you're looking for and what stages and areas to improve upon. Like for me, heavily... Ooh, actually... Oh yeah, I'm just going to see if I drop that. Yeah, so maybe we'll survive a little longer and slow that down. I didn't realize we were... Oh yeah, we're looking pretty awful. But there are things like... Oh, again, my apologies for the throat. I tried to clear it out as much as I could this morning before recording, just is what it is. But there are things like you can have a full condition indicator right on the hotbar down here of how good of health the equipment has to itself. There's likely mods that'll actually, instead of these bars for condition, maybe they'll change to actually tell you the exact numbers of, this has, like, say, 150 out of 150 conditions, which means you can shoot 150 times before it fully breaks. And that, I think, would be really useful when it comes to things like the stone axes and the spears, because everything has the same bar of condition, but you have no idea what that actually means in comparison to, like, how technically healthy or useful a item or equipment will be for you. So there's things like that. There's stuff that I want to see if there's anything that changes the firearm aiming, because that's one that does feel a bit odd. I kind of also want to find one, because Project Zomboid is an isometric game, one that has more so of a, actually, you know what, truth be told, I might be talking a little longer than that, so I'm not going to be doing a full series, but I am going to say, drop a weapon here, and I'll just kind of stick us into this corner, and maybe we'll just grab new character and come here for chatting further. But yeah, there's things I want to change, like when it comes to with it being an isometric game and having it so... you try to dome the zombies, you have to get your position really right for them, whereas truth be told, I feel like maybe it'd be something they're just on the ground, they take like maybe 1 or 2 hits, and no matter where you're hitting them, that'll still count. Just because it can feel hard to know exactly what your position and angling has to be. And another one is just the basic setting that outlines the zombies in green for that's what you're targeting. Feels like it should be an enable baseline trait of the game, not something you have to go into the settings to turn on. Or you have to turn it off if you choose to, because that drastically changed how the experience was and made the game much better and approachable to play. So yeah, Zomboid, a lot of good ideas and serves as a decent foundation, but I think the real greatness and shine of it comes from having the mods that flesh it out, explain more, gives more concise info to the player. Like, another thing I want to find is a better way of, like, knowing where you're protected here when it comes to, like, what gear you've got on, and how the clothing is, like, actually on your person and shown better. It's like, all I've got is here, and it does provide some information, but you can also see, like, okay, so, like, there's some defense in that for our feet, we see, but shirts do nothing, so only certain items do compared to others. There's, again, there can be a lot of information at times, but also not a lot of information either. So I would like to try to find something that gives us a little bit more of just practical info that's a little bit more, a little less convoluted and easier to see laid out before you in its entirety. Like, I do like the health system here where you can see what wounds you exactly have on certain regions, just drag and drop bandages, medical supplies, whatever you need per them. And it shows you, like, if it's healed, well, maybe not healed, but it's bandaged, treated, etc. So yeah, there's just a number of things where Zomboid, it feels like it's maybe the next updates for the game, instead of adding more content, should add more quality of life. Like, look and see what the more highly rated of the mods are, and see if there are things that feel like they are just kind of like design gaps that the game is missing and would help flesh it out to a much better extent. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're just towards the last limits here, maybe just to keep talking and go through a little further. I'll make another survivor. But my thinking is this will be the last episode for the series. I'm going... Oh, well, there we go. Had a heart attack, basically. Yeah, so killed 167 zombies for 12 days. I think our first survivor went longer than that. But we also did kind of mess up towards the end there, so just to keep talk... No, actually, you have a zombie moodle, too. Truth be told, I can't remember which one we spawned into. So I think it was just there. Yeah, I'm not going to pick up any traits. We're just going to do whatever for it and just hop in to keep chatting more with something for, like, backdrop to it. But I think the highest point of contention I have when it comes to... Actually, where am I? Oh, geez, we spawned way away from anything I'm used to. Oh. And we also spawned pretty heavy into zombie territory, although... I think I might be able to just, like, outrun these with it being night. Or, well, day. Yeah, so that's also one mistake I had made when it came to the series is... Oh lord, that's a lot out there! A lot of them all over the place. Is when it does come to, like, your first survivors, it's probably better instead of staying in the same world once you do die, to start a new world or a new game entirely. Just so that way... Instead of having to deal with a persistent zombie threat that has grown and grown, you are in a little bit of a fresher world, so they probably won't be as heavy in number, and you can get your bearings all over again. See how, like, look at how many are just out and about here. I think this was where I did have the, I think a house alarm did go off around here, but I'm not 100% sure of it. But yeah, like, trying to start a brand new character and getting spawned all the way up into the heart of this stuff did not go the greatest, but it does show you really can just outrun most of the immediate dangers. So yeah, they're approaching, but I can take a little bit of time just to catch my breath for a bit of a walk. And we'll just go and maybe find our garden hose, smack our previous character to the ground, and see how everything is sitting there. But I'd kind of almost say to take the approach of... I'm trying to think of the best way to describe, because truth be told, I'm not sure how accurate it is, but when you're trying to, like, say, sight in a firearm, one of the things you do when you get to... Or one of the things that I think it's kind of common to do... is to go to the... Okay, so we're up here, so I am actually making it down okay enough. Is when you're at the firing range, is to fire 3 shots, just kind of take a look down at the target, see where they're grouped at, and then only adjust one variable at a time. So, like, say all your shots are shooting to the top left. So first work to bring from the left centered more. So as you bring that in, make your adjustment, take 3 shots, check, make adjustment, check, and when you are satisfied with how that one variable is, then adjust the other with the same pattern. I kind of say maybe Zomboid would be a good thing to do that as well, except spend, like, maybe make a character, play a couple of hours, see how it feels, get a if there's any other mods you feel like need some inclusion or adjustment or etc., find them, install them, make new character, play a couple hours, and once you're really happy with the experience, that's when it's probably better to do, like, say, long play, go through for the series for quite a while. I think we're back into... Yeah, we're back into the familiar territory here, so you know what? I think we're okay where we are. Yeah, so we'll just walk our way to the campsite to grab our garden hoe. But there's a lot of little things I could see getting really overwhelmed with in Zomboid, and also feeling there's not enough information presented to. The tutorial did a pretty good job in a few ways, although I think it also didn't really go into how detailed you can get when you have, like, right-clicking on things to interact with the world and options. Like a simple one of right-clicking a broken window to remove the glass would be smart to really convey that the player can do that. But we'll just go see about our campsite, grabbing that garden hoe, because I am curious about how good of a weapon that is, too. That's another thing I'd like to see for when it comes to, weapon damage. Like, I can understand, you get your skill up, and then you'll have it does more damage against, zombies with that. But it'd still be nice to know what the baseline numbers of the weapons are to know, okay, this will be really effective, this won't be, this has good condition, but will break quickly, stuff like that that helps you kind of hone in and get an idea of what you might want to prioritize going for. I still do think Zomboid also has a little bit of the problem of you kind of have to know how to play what character you want to play before you actually, like, have started playing. There we go. And truth be told, I guess see, to me that looks more like a big pickaxe, especially with the other end of it. And there we go. Vengeance has been dealt. So yeah, we're not going to do much more there. We just got to say we came back and just defeated our zombie self in this one, and I won't be coming back to this world, because once I get all the mods I'd probably like to get on for whenever I return to Zomboid, it's probably best as a fresh new experience to see how much difference it is, and also see how much I retain for playing too. But again, we got close to 30 episodes. I think this is actually going to be episode 28 for the series. I have heavily enjoyed my time with it. I'm kind of in a spot of weighing, like, I'm not sure which zombie survival craft game is the better of the two. Like, 7 Days to Die I think actually before this latest big alpha release they did would have been better. But one of my issues with 7... I thought I heard, like, possibly a zombie for a moment there, but one of my issues with this latest build of 7 Days to Die was how they changed up the skill system and the crafting books, how they kind of work. On the one hand, it is nice that crafting books are much more common in that game, but on the other, if you get a bad spawn location, you basically are always going to go to a specific area on a, like, pre-generated map to basically focus on min-maxing. Whereas Zomboid, I think what it might even be better doing, instead of like having a... It might be better for this game... yeah, there's the skills. Instead of having it be like 75 and like these are locked up, maybe having it so it's easier to get your basic skills in, but the higher you climb, that's where you have more of an exponential growth going along. Because, like, for all of these zombies and that I would fight in that, I think we didn't even really get, like, skill level 2 for a lot of our combat stuff in that. So I feel like it'd be better to have it so that way you can get your basics and your early skills found simpler and quicker, but to really skill them up and get to the high end, that's where it exponentially goes really up there. I know Zomboid, it's technically more trying to keep the challenge of long survival is... meant for, like, you've really mastered the game, you've gotten far with it in that, but I feel like it could be a little bit more easier curve starting out with stuff. Like, being able to erect the walls like this and that, I think is really good for basic beginners thing there. I do kind of feel like the stone axes and that, though, might break a little simple. And we also did make... That's actually another thing. I don't know if there is a skill that really relates to... making the stone axes like we were. Because, like, we had probably made, like, at least 5 or 6 of them, and if they were maintenance, we weren't even, like, to level 2 of that. So, again, make, like, the first 2 levels fairly straightforward, and you'll get pretty quickly, but everything up there should curve higher and higher. Like, say, maybe it's only 20, then it goes up to 30, and then it goes to, like, say, 60, 120, or... grows up at a different rate that's more exponential, that really shows that the skills take a lot more to master them on. It just felt like for how detrimental it is early on, especially with the firearm aiming, if they take too long to get, and they are too difficult to really hone up, they might not even be worth pursuing. So again, it's almost like you have to make the character first of how you want to play, and then start playing the game, rather than you play the game, the character starts becoming their own, and flushes out with what you find or what's around you. It's just, again, a bit of an odd approach I found for things like that, but it's probably, well, I shouldn't say probably, it is all personal choice of how you'd like to approach stuff like that. So yeah, Zomboid, I did enjoy my time with it. I would highly suggest probably looking to see if anybody does have, like, basic quality of life mods. There's nothing really too much experience-wise I would change. Again, the melee combat I think is pretty good. The weapons having their own different, like, animations is okay. I would kind of like it, though, if there was a little explanation of, like, say, when it comes to the spears, we know stabbing is the most powerful of that, but it kind of lets you know that that's the most powerful, like... I'm trying to think of how to describe it. I guess the idea, again, I go back to something like a game like Morrowind, where when you would pick up a weapon, you would have different damage values for what attacks you were using. Because in Morrowind, you would actually have, if you were walking forward and attack, you would do a stab. If you were stepping to the left or right, you would actually do like a horizontal chop or a slice. And the weapons would actually give you stats on what those values were, so you knew what kind of priority you would want to give for the weapon you were using. I think that's something where Zomboid could kind of try figuring something out with, and maybe there even is a mod that does that, where depending on, say, if you hold a certain key in attack, you will do a swing, or you'll do a stab, or you'll do a slash, or something else. Because right now, I think the animations are entirely tied upon where your positioning is to what you're attacking, rather than you having a lot more use or input to stuff. So again, it's... I mean, I've repeated myself so many times, so there's only so much I can really go over with it. Great foundation, it shines and becomes great with mods, and eventually when we come back, we will have a modded run. But for now, I think we went through a pretty decent little beginning start with it. We've seen where I'd like to try to get some things increased. I actually kind of want to check and see if there is somewhere to, like, increase the UI scaling. Because, like, that is one thing. Textures, not really anything there. Although, it is interesting that you can go through, like, the texture sizing you want. I was just looking to see if there was any way to increase the UI things. Like, make that hotbar bigger, make the moodles larger, so it's easier to see them when you are in the middle of things. But, truth be told, I'm not really seeing anything here for it. Like, it doesn't look like accessible. Would this have? Not overly. Maybe even that's something I'll try to find as a mod, is there's a way to increase the size of these. Like, these windows... Yeah, see, you can move them around, which is a nice bit of the UI detail, but you can't really scale them to increase or shrink them to have, like, better use. Because I would definitely increase the size of all the moodles so I could see them a little bit easier. Same with the hotbar down here, too, but that would be something... If I do get the hotbar durability mod, it becomes easier to see them there as well. So again, my best recommendation would probably be how we approach the series if you guys do pick up Zomboid, or you are... Even if you're returning to Zomboid and you don't know what mods or that you want to do. Make a new character, maybe even completely make them bland, like this, so you get a complete, like, full baseline to neutral start. And then you can see, like, what aspects you want to have for your quality of life. Because there might be people who are, the firearms are fine, I'm going to leave that as is. There's the moodles, I'm okay with those, I'll do something different. Or the clothing's fine, I'm not going to look for something else that gives me more details there. It is a game where, with how many mods there are, you can make it really customized to your own experience however you choose to. And that, I think... I probably have to give it that right now, comparing... I think the two big zombie survival craft games might be Project Zomboid and 7 Days to Die. I would probably lean Zomboid has the edge right now, just because the modding ability it has far outweighs 7 Days. Although 7 Days does have some mods to it as well, I think it's more so I feel like there's more open experience here that can be done than how 7 Days might be in some ways too. They both have their own merits. Eventually I will probably do a 7 Days to Die series as well. But again, I've got something else I'm going to do to change up and shift up for a little bit of burnout I've been feeling for the channels with how it's been for the past 10 weeks. And just go along with that. But Zomboid was a great time. I think a lot of people enjoyed it as well, and it will definitely be returning to the channel in time. I will also, when it does come back, include in the description of every video a nice mod list so you guys can all see what I am using and playing with. Because let's face it, it's one of those ones it's like, okay, how are they playing? Let's see, is it really as good or bad as they're saying, or I want to experience that myself too. That's a nice thing about mods as well, is you can also share what that experience is like for yourself. But overall, been a fun little series. Thank you all for joining me through it. And yeah, I'm going to take a little break for the rest of this week, just no episodes for a couple of the slots. And then next week, I'll have something new to the channel. But thank you all very much for joining me in this video and through the series as it's gone. If you did like it, be sure to give us a like. And if you have any comments, tips, or tricks, or even mod suggestions, because eventually they will be showing up, be sure to leave them in the comments right down below. Until I see you all in the next video episode, survivors, please remember, as always, to take care and stay alive.